Welcome to How to Grow Using AI, Machine Learning, and Intelligent Automation, a podcast by eClerks. We explore how AI and machine learning are being used to scale businesses from end to end. But that's not all. In each episode, our industry experts dive deep into topics like AI-enabled sales optimization, predictive analytics, AI-powered marketing, and machine learning for product personalization. I promise to give you the goods, the insights, and the strategies that you need to grow your business. I am your host, Nicholas Cole. We have joining us Virginia Puccio. She is the founder and CEO of Fuel AI. They do some amazing things over there. Fuel AI, they specialize in data development for the advancement of artificial intelligence. And so what I really like about them is they have a team of bounty hunters for the advancement of AI. And so we're going to talk about that today. But before we get into that, Virginia, why don't you let us know just a little bit more about yourself and Fuel AI?
Great. Thank you so much, Nicholas. It's great to be here. Yeah, so Fuel AI is a two-sided marketplace. It's global, where we connect people who take photos with their smartphones, so pretty much everybody, to companies that are building an AI solution. And we help the people who are taking the photos monetize their data so they can make money off of it. Everybody, everyday people can work in the field of AI for data collection, providing first-party data for artificial intelligence companies or companies that are building an artificial intelligence solution.
Wow, amazing. So is that the concept that you have about like the everyday person that can help with the advancement of AI? So is that the concept with the bounty hunter concept that I mentioned earlier? So is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, that's right. So we've gamified the system. And basically, the people who take photos, we call them bounty hunters. And the requests that we receive from AI builders are called bounties. And so it just makes it a little bit more fun. We brought in like a military aspect to it. So we call them a bounty unit, your units being deployed. The instruction documents that we receive are mission intel. The data where they store their data is called the data vault and things like this. So we've gamified the system to make it a little bit more fun. But yeah, we call the people who take photos bounty hunters. And it's not just photos. I mean, they can record audio, they can record video. There are a lot of different requests that we receive from different AI builders. And so everyday people can provide these things for the AI builders. And so that's what we've sort of created is this an ecosystem, part of an ecosystem.
Wow, that's amazing. Very unique concept. It's definitely fun. And I like that concept, but it is core. We're talking about data, the data development. And so could you kind of give us an idea? What are some of the advantages of collecting data, using this data for the advancement of AI? How can that benefit organizations?
Yeah. So what we're finding is that there's a lot of data on the web, but ever since ChatGPT went really mainstream back in like late December 2022, data's begun to disappear because people are starting to realize like, wait a second, you're using my data sort of without my permission. Reddit is now charging for their APIs, which they didn't before. There's these lawsuits against OpenAI and Stability AI and a lot of different lawsuits. People are starting to say, hey, copyright protections, and this isn't my data, and you can't monetize my data. So basically, we're giving the opportunity. If you're going to build an AI system, you can write really beautiful algorithms. But if you don't have the data to train those algorithms, to train that AI, then you're never going to have a functioning product. And so we're giving the opportunity for companies to get customized data, to find people who will provide them with customized data. And we just put the monetization aspect to it so that, anybody can work in that field. And then the AI builders, they benefit because they've now got the training data they need to train their AI and get it working, to get it to production.
Wow. Okay. So what you're saying is, so just imagine, so a company comes to you and say, okay, we get it. We need data. We don't know where to go and get this data. So are you saying that organizations, that your company is one of those companies they can come to get some of that data that they so vitally need? Is that what you're saying?
That's right. Any type of custom data. We've had companies that are looking for pictures of tires, like the sidewall of tires, and need thousands of pictures of tires. It's something that's difficult to find on the web. There's companies that want a consumer electronics products inside of a store, inside of Walmart or Best Buy. They want to see what does the display look like. They want to look at pricing. They can find that pricing online. That's easy. But going into a store and finding it is a little bit more challenging. So we send out the bounty hunters to either parking lots to take pictures of those tires or to a Best Buy to take pictures of the consumer electronics products. Even things like we've been asked for babies crying. So you might have to go to a park and just record the sound of a baby crying or people snoring. And imagine if you're trying to get hundreds or thousands of audio clips of people snoring. That's not something you can scrape from the web. And that's going to be kind of a challenge to find. So you're going to have multiple people doing that. And so we've crowdsourced, but given people the ability to make money for doing these types of things.
Wow. It's really fascinating. And so I want to switch gears a little bit. And so on your website, it mentions that data is the new oil. And so when we think about oil, so I think about when I say this, I'm striking oil, that means I'm about to get rich. So doesn't necessarily mean for organizations that we're about to get rich. So, but when you talk about data and AI, are you saying that data has the ability to help organizations to get from where they are to where they want to be as far as profitability?
Absolutely. I mean, especially if they're building an AI solution. If they want that AI solution to work, the more data they have, the higher quality that data is, the faster and more easily they're going to be able to get their AI to production. And if getting the AI to production is going to yield them either cost savings or some additional revenue, either way, yeah, it means money.
Awesome. So when you talk about that data development, what are some of the challenges that organizations face?
I think right now, just finding data is a challenge. I would love for them to know about us because we have the ability to help them get that data. So just right now, finding data is a challenge for organizations. And then I think further down the pipeline, there's this sort of chain of the way things happen or sequence of the way things happen. And collecting the data or creating the data is the very first step. And then you have to annotate the data, label the data, get it, have somebody check that, use it to train the algorithms, put it into production, make sure that the AI is making appropriate decisions. But I think that very first part is something that we have sort of neglected for all these years and taken advantage of to say, like, the data's out there, it's available, it's on the web, we can get a hold of it, but it's actually a little bit more complex. It's a little bit more challenging to get a hold of that data than we originally anticipated. And so I think this is a challenge for companies is the data collection piece. And like I said, I wish they would all know about us because we can help with that data collection piece. We've got 600 bounty hunters in 16 different countries right now, and we're growing all the time. So if we could support them in those efforts for data collection, I think that we could help them with that challenge.
Okay, so just say I'm a company. We want to check you out. We know data is something we want to get into, data and implementing that with AI. And we believe that your company is a company that we need to go with. So give us an idea of the experience, of like from getting started with your company. Like give us an idea. Where do they go? What happens?
Yeah, sure. So they can, go to our website and contact us and we'll reply within 24 hours or so. And right now we're very, very hands-on. And that's partially because this is sort of a new process for a lot of companies. There are a ton of new AI companies that have entered the marketplace. And so they don't know what to expect. They don't know what to do. So we're very hands-on. We'll give them the experience the customer support sort of experience that they need. Eventually, once people get more used to this and more of our system is built, because we're also an early stage startup, it'll be a lot more automated. People will just be like, oh, I know how to do this. I don't need help with this. I know how to do this. But in the beginning, when a product is new, an idea is new, people need to understand how that works. So we'll be very hands-on. We'll talk to them about their needs. We'll go through a questionnaire about what does the data look like? What are you going to use it for? How much of it do you need? A lot of different questions around that. Do you have anything you've written so far in terms of instruction documentation or training documentation or anything that you need? And we'll review all of that. Then we will put together a really comprehensive but simple. That's really important so that everyday people, I keep mentioning this, everyday people can work in this field. That means that the mission intelligence documents that they receive have to be really simple, but also very comprehensive so that they can get it right. And so we'll put that together. We'll have the AI builder review it and tell us if it looks good. And then it's kind of that simple. We'll put it out and agree on a price. This is kind of a cool thing is we let the AI builder decide the amount of the bounty. So they get to determine the price. And then all of that gets passed to the bounty hunter minus 5%. At Fuel AI, we only keep 5%. So if you think about like Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, companies even that are selling on Amazon, it's another two-sided marketplace, they keep a lot larger percentage than just 5%. We're only keeping 5%. So we really want a lot of that money to go to the bounty hunters who are doing the actual work. And we decide on the bounty price and then we send it out. We just say, hey, notification, your unit's been activated. There's a new bounty. And then we provide feedback for the AI builder, for the bounty hunters. We do all the liaising back and forth between those two parties.
Wow. Earlier, you mentioned when ChatGPT was introduced back in early 2022. And so Sam Altman, he recently had an interview with Bill Gates and he mentioned things are coming out with ChatGPT 5 pretty soon. And so with that said, that means that technology is changing and growing at a rapid pace. And so there's another report out there from the Wall Street Journal. They mentioned that companies are excited about AI. They're excited about the use of data, but they've yet to experience the return on investment when it comes within it. So this year, most companies are looking to get a return on investment. And so when you talk about data development for the advancement of AI, intertwined with what Fuel AI does, can you give us an idea of what can organizations expect when it comes to their return on investment?
Yeah, I think that's tough. I think it's going to be different for each organization because it depends on really what kind of use case they're utilizing AI for. So if we're talking about like autonomous driving or even certain aspects of retail like autonomous checkout, these are really dynamic environments. And so they're really challenging to train an AI in because there are a lot of models that go into building that AI system, a lot of different models. And it has to be able to understand what's happening in a dynamically changing environment. I mean, grocery stores there's tons of people in there. Things are changing all the time. Things get moved on shelves. Shelves get moved around. And of course, driving. I mean, are you on the freeway? Are you on the city streets? Are there people crossing the streets? What are the lights? Is there construction? All these different things. So those advancements, I think, are going to be a little bit slower. But we've seen a lot of advancements with large language models. So if somebody is building an AI that utilizes a large language model, I think this is really exciting because they're going to be able to see their returns a lot faster. And there are a lot of companies that are building an AI that requires both some sort of like computer vision and also a large language model together. And so I think they'll be able to see a pretty quick return on their investment if they're using a large language model.
Wow. Awesome. So with all that development and all that technology coming into play, what excites you most in terms of technology that's going on this year?
I think a lot of people are really worried about AI taking jobs and AI taking over. And I think that's taking over humanity, I should say. And I think that's quite a ways off. Although, I don't really consider myself an expert like Sam Altman. So if he says it's coming soon, or Andrew Ng or one of those guys, if they say it's coming soon, then they have a better idea than I do. But what I would say what excites me is that, especially for this next year or two, three coming up, is that AI in some ways, in some areas, will level the playing field a little bit. And when I say level the playing field, I just mean between even different socio-economic law, for example. So it's no secret that if you're more affluent, then you have more opportunity to hire a really fantastic team of attorneys. It's not like you just get one attorney. You're hiring a team of attorneys. And all of these great minds are coming together to figure out a problem for you. If you don't have that kind of money, then you might be lucky if you can hire one good attorney. And so you've just got that one mind working on your problem. But with AI, you can hire that attorney and then you can turn to AI to actually help you understand more of the process, what's going on, look up some case law for me. Of course, you have to make sure that it's not hallucinating and making things up, because we've seen some stuff in the news within the last year about that, even where an attorney got into trouble with that. But to me, that's really exciting that, again, everyday people or people who normally wouldn't have access to really huge, strong legal team is going to be able to use AI to sort of bring themselves up a little bit, level the playing field, and be able to understand more of what's going on. And I think that law is just one area. There are going to be other areas too, like medical. These are important areas for our lives, for our livelihood, for our longevity, for our health and happiness. And so I think if you have the ability to use AI for these things, where otherwise you wouldn't normally have that access, I think that's really cool.
Awesome. So you mentioned leveling the playing field. I think that's what excites me the most as well. And so, in your experience, although AI technology is leveling the playing field, are there some best practices as it relates to data development for AI?
Yeah, I think what we typically see is we get a bunch of data, because I've been on the side of being an AI builder. That's how I went into this, got this idea of data collection. I've been on the side of being the AI builder. And so we'll say, okay, we need this type of data. And we collect this type of data, we get a hold of the data, and then we figure out how to use it to train them. We annotate it in particular ways so that we can train the algorithms. And then we put it to work and we say, okay, what is it doing correctly or incorrectly? We've got to look at those edge cases. So I think one of the best practices would be to make sure that you are reviewing what it's doing. We use human in the loop for that a lot of times. We've really got to make sure that it's making appropriate decisions, that the decisions are without bias and they're not ridiculous, because sometimes we've heard a lot about large language model making hallucinations. And I've seen it happen with even computer vision models that sort of have these hallucinations, or they have these where you're like, where did you come up with that? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That was just sort of crazy. So yeah, I think the best practice is going to be to make sure that we touch all the edge cases, all the potential, like we've got this use case and we know what we expect, but there are some things that are going to pop up that we don't expect. And so we need to make sure that we cover that as well. When they do pop up, we quickly clear them up. And then we're constantly checking the decisions that it's making to make sure that they're appropriate.
Awesome. So, Virginia, you provided us with some amazing insights on today. And so I just have one question. I've just been a little bit curious. So we talked about the advancements of technology. We talked about how fast things are going, all the checks and balances that are going into play. And so I'm just a little bit curious, in the world of AI, if you had an opportunity to take one person to lunch, who would that person be?
I would have to say that would be Andrew Ng. So if you're not familiar with him, he's a professor at Stanford. He has a blog called The Batch. He has landing AI, deep learning AI, a couple of, nonprofits. And he's fascinating. He teaches tons of classes that you can get on Coursera, that you can go through deep learning AI to get. And he is one of the recent classes he has released is called Generative AI for Everyone. And I took it because I wanted to see what was involved. I have people constantly asking me, how do I get into AI? How do I get into AI? So I wanted to see, is this like a good stepping stone? And it's a great class. I recommended it to a couple of my friends who know nothing about AI. They took it. But yeah, so Andrew Ng, I would say I would want to meet with him because he writes great in The Batch. He has some really great ideas. He's very thought provoking. So I'd love to chat with him in person.
So I just want to remind you, you have my email, my contact information. So if you ever afford an opportunity to go to lunch with them, make sure to send me an invitation. I'd love to be on the fly on the wall or just be there to soak up some of that information. So there's definitely someone I would enjoy going to lunch with. And so, Virginia, it has been a pleasure on today. You provided us with some tremendous insights. You guys are doing some amazing things over there at Fuel AI. And I know that the best is yet to come for Fuel AI. And so, to our listeners, be sure to tune in to our next episode.
Thank you.
How to Grow Using AI, Machine Learning, and Intelligent Automation is brought to you by eClerx. For more information about services and how we can help your business leverage the power of AI and machine learning, visit our website at www.eclerx.com. That's www.eclerx.com. Don't forget to search for How to Grow Using AI, Machine Learning, and Intelligent Automation on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our episodes. On behalf of everyone here at eClerx, thanks for listening.